Can you imagine waking up one day to find out your own mother tried to put your newborn baby up for adoption? Not because she was worried, but because she thought my pregnancy would steal the limelight from my sister's wedding. What the hell happened next still sends shivers down my spine. So, my sister's wedding is set for the end of this year, but my beautiful baby boy arrived about 3 weeks ago. Everyone was over the moon, everyone except my mom. That is. And honestly, I wasn't surprised. For her, nothing, and I mean nothing, is more important than her darling baby, which unfortunately happens to be my little sister. The thing is, I got pregnant a while back, and my sister got engaged to her boyfriend of 3 years when I was about 6 months along. If you do the math, you'd know I'd have already given birth by the time her wedding rolled around. It would have been one thing if my sister wanted a small, quick ceremony, but no, she was planning this elaborate, grand affair that would obviously take ages. That's when my mom dropped the bomb. She came to my house, not to share good news, but to tell me I needed to do something about my pregnancy. She actually said that. She claimed my baby, my pregnancy, would take away my sister's limelight because, apparently, a new baby is a bigger milestone than a wedding. I was floored. Seriously, what was she even talking about? I told her she was being completely paranoid and ridiculous. First of all, nobody would skip a wedding because I had a baby. Second, I wasn't even invited to her wedding since we aren't close, so how could I possibly overshadow her? I wouldn't even be there. And it's not like I'm some celebrity. I was pretty sure no one at her wedding would be talking about me or my baby. I thought these were all pretty valid points, but my mother didn't care. She told me I needed to hide my pregnancy and my baby from everyone in the family and all our mutual friends, just so I wouldn't steal my sister's limelight. It was beyond insane. We got into a massive fight, the kind that rips a family apart, and I didn't speak to her after that. I felt a pang of guilt, a deep sadness for breaking a promise I'd made to my father. He'd asked me to look after her, always. But she was acting so hostile, so utterly unreasonable, and I was already pregnant and irritable. I just couldn't handle her idiotic statements anymore. So, she wasn't there for anything after that. It was just me, my amazing husband, and his family, taking care of everything. My mom didn't even show up for the birth of her own grandson. My husband called her that day, but she refused to come, claiming she was out with my sister. Honestly, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have shown up anyway. I'm just not a priority for her. If she could abandon her own daughter and our relationship just because she thought I was stealing limelight by having a baby, then there was nothing more to say. We had no contact, and I was surprisingly okay with it. Then, a couple of days ago, my phone rang. It was her. I didn't answer at first, but then she started texting me frantically, demanding I pick up, saying something very important had happened. It was clear she had bad news. I really didn't want to talk, but that promise to my dad kept nagging at me. So, I answered. And I'm really glad I did, because that's how I found out she was in legal trouble for trying to put my baby up for adoption without our consent. My blood ran cold. An adoption agency had uncovered a case of fraud and misrepresentation. She had contacted them, falsely claiming she had power of attorney because my husband and I were addicts and unfit parents in court. She said that, as the baby's custodial caretaker, she was putting him up for adoption. Obviously, they easily figured out all her legal documents were fake. They stopped the process immediately and were now taking legal action against her. She was calling me, crying, begging me to help her, terrified of what was coming. She'd been informed she'd be served papers in a few days, and she decided to tell me before they could find me and inform me themselves. How could she expect me to help her after something so monstrous? I could understand wanting her favorite daughter to have the spotlight, but going that far to try and give away my child? It was disgusting. And frankly, pretty stupid because this was only going to bring more attention to me. Now, I planned on suing her too. After she explained everything, I just hung up. I had nothing left to say. I didn't feel bad for her at all. In fact, I thought she deserved this, and even worse. Later that day, the adoption agency called me, confirming everything and asking me what I wanted to do. My husband and I had already discussed it. We were absolutely pursuing legal action. There was no way she was getting away with this. We spoke to a lawyer, and within a few days, we'd filed a civil lawsuit. The proceedings against her are starting soon, but given the seriousness of what she did, criminal charges have also been filed. There's little to no room for mediation. The best she can hope for is an out-of-court settlement for the civil suit or a plea bargain for the criminal charges. But even then, jail time is a very real possibility. She's under house arrest right now, but she can still contact me. And she does. Emails, one after another, begging for help. She's been apologizing, saying she was upset by my decision not to hide my baby for my sister's sake. She claims she knows it was messed up and she's really sorry. I'd been ignoring her, but then she hit me where it hurt, deep down. She reminded me of the promise I'd made to my father, that I'd always take care of her. She said this didn't look like taking care of her. That caught me off guard. I had that conversation with my father in private, on his deathbed. How did she even know about it? But I've decided. I'm not dropping the civil lawsuit against her. She deserves this. She brought it on herself. I'm not backing down just because of a promise she's now twisting into emotional manipulation. For years since my dad passed, I took that promise seriously. I did my best to live up to it. But this, using my father's memory to defend her monstrous actions? That's low. A lot of people have criticized me for putting up with her for so long, given how little she cared for me. But I don't know if you've ever lost a parent, especially one like my dad, to cancer. Making a promise to him on his deathbed? That's not something I could take lightly. That's why I endured her for so long. But this is crossing a line I never thought possible. My mind is made up. Nothing will make me back down. Even my husband agrees I've made the right call. I'm not asking for a fortune, just for her to pay back what I've spent on her over the years. Because, yes, I've been taking care of her financially since my sister wouldn't spend $1 on anyone but herself. That's probably why my father asked me to look after Mom. But I don't think he could have ever imagined this. I'm sure he'll forgive me, and even if he doesn't, I have to do this for my own sake. I know for a fact my father left her the house and a substantial sum of money, so she'll be able to get by. She also has her brother to lean on. And honestly, even if she loses everything because of this, it's no longer my concern. I've tried my best, and it's never been enough. I'm done trying to be a good daughter. I'm simply a mother now, and that's my only priority. It's been a few weeks since then, and we're in mediation for the civil lawsuit. It hasn't been going well. My mom gets too emotional, screams, and we have to terminate sessions. I don't know if it's a strategy or if she's genuinely losing it, but it's just delaying the inevitable. My uncle even tried to reach out, begging me to back off, saying my settlement demands were too huge and unfair. He brought up how she raised me, how ungrateful I was not to forgive her for one stupid little mistake. But it wasn't a stupid little mistake. She falsified documents. That takes planning, premeditation. If the adoption agency hadn't done their due diligence, my baby could have been gone. The more I think about it, the less forgiving I feel. No amount of money will ever make up for what she did, but at least I'm only asking for what I spent on her. When I told my uncle that, he still called me unfair. He just wouldn't get it. I eventually got agitated and told him if he cared so much about his sister, he could bail her out himself. He started yelling, calling me names, and I hung up. There was no point. And then there's my sister. Insufferable since she found out. She's making me out to be the villain, claiming I'm doing this all to get back at her and Mom for not paying me enough attention. At least my uncle had the guts to talk to me directly. She's been spreading rumors behind my back to everyone we know. Now the whole family knows about the lawsuit, which I really didn't want. It's so personal, so disturbing. I didn't want to talk about it, but now I'm having to answer questions, just in case I need them to testify if it goes to court. I tell myself it was bound to come out eventually. But the narrative my sister is pushing? That I'm just being vindictive? She doesn't understand the gravity of what our mother tried to do. This isn't some sibling rivalry. How can someone be so stupid and self-involved? Oh, wait. She's my sister. Not surprising, really. She's my mother's true daughter. It's actually kind of darkly funny, in a twisted way. This whole thing started because my mother wanted my sister's wedding to be the event of the year. She wanted me to hide my pregnancy and my baby. But now, because of her own actions, this is going to be the family highlight for a long, long time. It's scandalous, juicy gossip. And if I weren't directly involved, I'd probably find it fascinating too. It sounds trashy to say out loud, but it's really just poetic justice for my sister. Her wedding won't even begin to top this. Last week, the verdict for my mother's trial finally came through. She was convicted on all charges. Since she's a first-time offender, she'll pay a huge fine as restitution to both the adoption agency and me, plus a lot of community service. She dodged jail time, but she does have to attend court-mandated mental health treatment at a rehab facility. Her lawyer made it seem like she was going through something psychological. I'm not in touch with her anymore. I haven't been since we settled the civil lawsuit. I found out from other family members, and honestly, it feels fair enough. I also managed to get a restraining order against my sister right after my last update. That's another win. We're currently in the process of moving houses. It's stressful, but we can handle it. The settlement money came through a couple of weeks ago, and we're setting that aside for our son's future. We don't need it right now, and it's a huge relief. We won't even need to ask my in-laws for help. Everything's worked out in our favor. And even though my mother got lucky legally, she wasn't so lucky in her personal life. I've been hearing a lot of gossip, and people have even sent me screenshots of my sister's recent social media posts. She's publicly denounced everything our mother did, claiming she had no knowledge of it until recently and doesn't agree with her behavior. Even saying Mom deserves to be convicted.
Which is not what she was saying to me before.
Apparently, her fiancé and future in-laws weren't comfortable marrying into a family like this and were considering postponing the wedding. That's why she cut off our mother in such a public way. It sucks for my mom because all her life, she was dedicated to my sister. And now this is what she gets. It's sad, but well-deserved. I don't feel bad for her at all. Now that I'm moving, I'm going to have nothing to do with these people, and I really can't wait. It's been a messy, exhausting few months, but my husband and my son are the only people who keep me going. I'm so lucky to have a partner who understands me so well, and his family has been incredible throughout all this. After my dad passed, my in-laws were more there for me than my own mother ever was. I know not everyone is lucky enough to have such wonderful in-laws, so I'm incredibly thankful. I'm just really hoping this comes to an end soon. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had family cross such an unthinkable line? Tell me what you think. I really want to know in the comments below.